The morning after I made that wish, I woke up feeling altered. Not drastically. There was no lightning bolt, no ethereal whisper from the sky, but something had shifted. The strange thing was, I didn't wake up refreshed. I actually felt a bit of shame. Not overwhelming guilt, just a lingering sense that something in me had been exposed. Like I'd cracked open the door to a room I hadn't entered in years, and now I couldn't unsee what was inside. And for some reason, I had this weird urge just to get in the car and drive north, far north, like really north, as if something inside of me wanted to flee. Not from danger, but from the inertia. I didn't, obviously, but that vision stuck with me, that need to break the pattern. Instead, I did what I always did. I got ready for work, but this time, it wasn't robotic. I actually noticed what I was doing, like I was watching myself do it. I drove to the factory with the same old radio station playing, but now I heard it differently. The news, the ads, the weather report, it all felt like background noise in someone else's life. I had this heightened sense of space, not quite clarity, more like awareness, spatial awareness, like I was observing life from just one layer removed. I wasn't sure yet if that was a blessing or a curse. When I walked into the plant, nothing had changed. The lights buzzed, the floor vibrated, people clocked in with their blank stares and travel mugs. But I saw it more clearly now. Or maybe I was just feeling, or finally seeing it all again. We look like ghosts, functioning bodies going through the motions. Get the parts out, hit the quotas, smile for the safety audit, pretend this place was still buzzing like it had a soul. It was like watching a loop of behavior I had once participated in without question, and now I couldn't unsee it. That week, I wasn't trying to make big changes. I hadn't done anything yet, but something in me was stirring, like an old version of myself was slowly waking up. And not the bitter, tired supervisor who gave pep talks just to check a box. I'm talking about the real one. The one who used to lead barbecues, organize hockey nights, stay late with the team just to figure something out. The one who gave a damn. The one who didn't need a job description to know what mattered. I hadn't realized how far I drifted from him until he started coming back. The spark didn't come from the same grand epiphany. It came from a video. Just a video on my phone during a lunch break. Someone at work had posted it. Tom Bilyeu interviewing Simon Sinek. I don't know what made me click it. Boredom maybe. Curiosity. But once I started, I couldn't stop watching. Sinek started talking about this generation of kids we're raising. How we were giving them phones at the same age we used to teach them to ride bikes. How those phones are basically digital dopamine bottles. And handing them over too early is like giving kids a shot of vodka and saying, "Here, go figure it out." And then he said something about how we've raised a generation to expect things instantly. We solve their problems for them, protect them from failure, and then wonder why they get into the workforce and break down. Why they're unhappy, lost, and are numb. That hit me in the chest. It wasn't just about kids. It was about all of us. It explained the ache that I'd been carrying, the disconnection, the scrolling, the autopilot. I watched the video again right after it ended. I had to. Something in it wasn't just resonating. It was vibrating through me, like it was articulating something I'd been feeling but never found the words for. I went home that night and showed it to my teenage son. He watched it politely and said something like, "Yeah, that's kind of cool." No deep reaction. I showed it to a friend too. Same thing. It didn't hit them the way it hit me. And that made the whole thing feel even weirder. Because I was changing. I could feel it. Slowly, quietly, but definitely. And no one around me seemed to notice. I started to smile a bit more at work. I asked people how they were. Really ask. Not just the surface level, "How's it going?" But more like, "What's been going on with you?" I didn't push. I didn't give speeches. I just started letting myself be. more human. At first, it felt awkward, like I was showing a part of myself I'd packed away years ago. But at the same time, it felt like I was coming back home. That week, I started remembering who I used to be. Back when work was about people, not policies. Back when we didn't need 30 layers of paperwork to fix a problem. When we didn't have to standardize every breath we took just to prove to somebody at the top we were following rules we already knew. I remember thinking, this system isn't working anymore. And not just for me, for anyone. Somewhere along the line, we traded team spirit for compliance, connection for efficiency. We stopped solving problems ourselves and started waiting for some outside expert to tell us what to do. And I saw it in the people too. Faces I'd worked with for decades, now reduced to job titles and time cards. We weren't co-workers anymore. We were assets. We were costs. We were boxes to check. That thought rattled around in me for days. And then came the meeting. It was near the end of the week, one of those evenings where I was just clocking in and our operations manager was finishing his day. He pulled me aside and said, "Hey, I saw that video you watched. That one you shared, that's the kind of stuff we need more around here." He didn't say it with fanfare. It wasn't some big policy shift, but it was enough. It was a green light. Not a green light to change everything overnight, but permission. Permission to care, to try, to lead in a way that had been buried under years of production matrices and protocol. I walked out of that meeting with something I hadn't felt in a long time: alignment. Like the internal shift I was going through was being echoed, just a little, by something outside of me. And as I stood there, watching the line fire up again, I had this quiet realization. If I wanted to change this place, I didn't have to start with the whole team. I didn't have to save the department. I just had to pick one person. There were two names that came to mind, two people everyone said were the most negative in the shop, the ones always complaining, dragging others down, and something in me whispered, start with one of them. Just one. Be real, consistent, be curious, without judgment. I hadn't acted on it, but the intention was there. The strategy was forming. And it wasn't my exactly. It felt more like I was being whispered to me from inside myself or somewhere else entirely. I didn't know, but I was listening because for the first time in years, I wasn't asleep. The spark was coming back. It didn't roar. It didn't demand. It just burned. Quiet and steady, reminding me, you remember who you are. Now let's begin. What? Was that real? No. It couldn't have been. Why does it seem so real? I didn't do anything wrong, did I? No. It's just a dream, right? Yeah. Oh. Oof. What was that? Oh, my gosh. It felt so real, though. I didn't do anything bad, right? Was I drunk last night? No. What the hell, man? That's weird.